What's up, everybody? My name's Big Cam and welcome back to another Comically Boston Monday morning weekly nerdy news podcast. And every Monday we discuss the last week in nerddom, and we got a little bit of Star Wars posters, we got some news to talk about over what happened the last week, we got a couple of new movies in the works, we finished a couple of shows last week with their season finales. We're going to be talking about the Punisher special presentation a little bit that comes out later this week, and then we'll end out today's show with some DC news with some new casting for James Gunn's Man of Tomorrow and the Batman Part 2 news. Oh, I'm so excited. I got my Batman shirt on. It's been way too long. I love Matt Reeves' The Batman from 2022, and some really exciting news that Matt Reeves put out the other day and really kind of blew up the internet, and it was like not that big of news and it still blew up the internet. That's how much people are clamoring, and that's how much people want the Batman Part 2. And, you know, hopefully we get it next year, maybe 2028, but I'm hoping 2027. But probably more like November of 2027. It's going to be late, but at least they're getting started, you know, but so are we. So let's jump on into this show and start out with some Mandalorian and Grogu posters, because that movie's right around the corner. I think we're like 2 weeks out. Currently 11 days out. May 22nd, I believe, is when this movie comes out. But you can see Mando with his jetpack flying into camera holding Grogu there. Not a bad little poster. There's also this wide poster that says "This is the way," and they're on that snowy planet, and, you know, Grogu's over Mando's shoulder. You got some AT-AT walkers blowing up in the background. There's like a moon and another moon in the background. There's the Razor Crest being chased in the background as well. Yeah, so May 22nd, this is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what this movie actually is about. And then this final poster here, the Mandalorian and Grogu, May 22nd, with like the sun in the background. You can see Mando up top there, Zeb, the Anzellans, a couple of huts, some monsters, some creatures, some Imperial walkers. Yeah, this is gonna be fun, you know, and it's set in a time, place in Star Wars that we haven't necessarily explored a whole lot, and I'm very excited to see how Mando and Grogu fit into this story and where it takes us, because from what they've shown us, it looks really cool, but I don't really have a good sense of like the plot of this movie, you know, like I don't know where the beginning, middle, and end is gonna be. I just know at some point he's gonna be fighting Jeremy Allen White's Jabba the Hutt type character, but with ripped arms, you know. Like, Zab's gonna be there, Sigourney Weaver's gonna be there, you know, so like some shit happens, some Hutts are gonna be involved, Mando gets his helmet taken off, has to fight a serpent, I don't know, some shit. It looks like it's gonna go down, but it looks cool as fuck, and I can't wait to see and feast my eyes on Star Wars on a big screen again. It's just gonna be so exciting and fun. But what else is going to be exciting and fun coming up here in June 21st, House of the Dragon Season 3 will be back, and they released this poster here with the Iron Throne and everybody fighting on it, and at the top it says "Win or Die," and then you got Rhaenyra in the middle, you got Aemon one eye off to the left, you got Daemon off to the right, and then in the tier below those three at the top, you got, I think, Alicent all the way to the left, and then you got, Alicent and Elena, the high towers there in the green, and then you got Daemon's children with his first wife, the wife that was the original rider of Vagar, and then you have Jace, Rhaenyra's son, with the strong men. Down bottom you got Corlys and Aegon, all charred up Aegon. Oh god, I can't wait to see where this season's heading and where it ends. But I don't think season 3 is going to be the final season either, so I think we're going to get more. Maybe season 4, maybe season 5 is where it ends, but I say keep it going as long as you possibly can, you know, lead us directly into the time and events of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and then A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, by the time that ends, I want it to lead almost directly into Game of Thrones episode 1, you know what I mean? Like, that's my pie in the sky hope for friggin' Game of Thrones universe shows, is that by the time they end, they can actually connect to each other in some way. Or, you know, get close enough, you know, like 10 years, 20 years, you know, like between, you know, rather than 100. I feel like we can get real close to the buffers on either end of those shows, so that like when you jump into it, you're like, oh, I understand what's going on now. You know, like what if at the end of House of the Dragon we see a baby Baelor? You know what I mean? But then by A Night of the Seven Kingdoms we see what happens to Baelor. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that would be interesting. I think I would be really here for that, and I'm certainly going to be breaking down House of the Dragon Season 3 in June when that comes out. But also in June, and actually I think out on Disney Plus and Hulu right now, is a surprise episode of The Bear, but it's focused on Ebon Moss-Bachrach and Jon Bernthal's characters of, what was his name, Michael and Cousin, you know, and how they met. And I think it's like a road trip to Gary, Indiana, and that's why it's called Gary. And I really like The Bear. I haven't watched season 4 and 5 yet, but the final season of The Bear, season 5, will be coming June 25th to FX, Hulu, and Disney Plus, and they will be dropping bundle episode all at once, you know, the whole season dropped in a binge watch, which I don't appreciate. You know, like I wish I could watch The Bear week to week and talk about it as like a show on the channel, but The Bear's more of like a I talk about with my friend or my mother, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a show more for me rather than the channel. But, you know, either way, if you've ever worked in the food industry and you understand what it's like, watching The Bear season 1 and 2 just gave me straight up trauma, right? Like, I had heart palpitations. I was like stressed out because I understood what was going on with the restaurant side of things, you know what I mean? But Jeremy Allen White as Carmen the Bear, you know, so good. The cast in this is so good. So I'm bummed that this is their final season, but I will be catching up for June for when that comes out. Another movie that I think is coming out pretty soon, June 5th, yeah, so it's, you know, less than a month away at this point, but Masters of the Universe. This here is a Dolby Cinemas poster, and I think it looks pretty cool with the double DD there, Idris Elba, the gorgeous woman off to his right, Skeletor in the background. But from what I'm hearing, you don't see Jared Leto at all in this film, or hear him. You know, the voice that he was doing for Skeletor apparently, you know, like, doesn't sound like him, and he really goes for it. And, you know, this is what Jared Leto has to do to make me like him. Hey, that's perfectly fine. Just make it not look like him, and then let him be an actor in the real sense of it, where like it's just your voice and your physical, but you're not like showing your face. You know what I mean? Like there's something to like the Mandalorian as an actor, you know, like Pedro doesn't have to be in the suit 100% of the time. In my headcanon, sure, I picture Pedro being in the suit 100% of the time, but in all actuality, it's, you know, Lateef Crowder and Brendan Wayne, I believe, John Wayne's grandson or son or something like that. But either way, you know, like there's people in the suit making it look cool, but like one of your biggest attributes as an actor is like your eyes and your facial expressions. And now if you have to express things under a helmet and you can't see your face the whole time, you know, like it really will show if you're a good actor or not. You know, like, can you physically embody a character without having to go, you know, like his facial expressions can tell you a lot. But if you're just stone-faced, you know, and you got a little visor and a chrome helmet, there's only so much you can do, but yet they do such a good job at it. And maybe that's what Jared Leto's doing here. You know, he's in that Skeletor suit and doing his thing. Who knows? Maybe he wasn't even on set, and maybe they had somebody else in the Skeletor suit, and then they just had Jared Leto in the ADR booth doing the voice. I don't know. I still probably won't see this Masters of the Universe. I've never been a He-Man type of guy, so, you know, I'm not all that interested in this at all. You know, even the trailers haven't made me interested. But if it comes out on, you know, streaming after the fact, I'll probably watch it. But I'm certainly not going to the theaters to see this. But any Masters of the Universe fans out there, should I be interested in this? Or is it just kind of like a nothing burger for most people? And they're like, yeah, don't care. I'm gonna pass on that one. Now, something that I am certainly not passing on is the Odyssey, and this poster here from Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, and the cast up top: Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o, Zendaya's in here. She wasn't in the trailer, but she is in here, and she's probably playing a goddess or something. And Charlize Theron, right? So like, and that's just some. Like, there's still Bernthal. There's so many more. John Leguizamo, Corey Hawkins. Like, there's so many actors in this cast, and it's going to be unbelievable movie. But the trailer for this came out last week, and I did a breakdown, and it's just funny because I had one commenter, right? And my commenters are really nice. Like 99% of my commenters are super cool from all over the globe, which is awesome. But I had one loser the other day leave a comment pretty much saying that all of my opinions were dumb and stupid and that this looks terrible. And pretty much his argument was, it's not historically accurate. This movie doesn't look historically accurate, so therefore I hate this film. And it's like, dude, oh, I forgot you were around 4,000 years ago, so you know what everything looked like 4,000 years ago. Like, absolute garbage opinions from garbage brain humans. And if that's your case and you're a historian buff, this isn't for you. And leave your shitty comments and your negativity somewhere else. And he was being overly negative in his comment. And then I go, what a loser, dude. Spew your negativity somewhere else. And he commented again with a paragraph about this long, and I read the opening line, which is pretty much, you saw an opinion that wasn't yours and you attacked me. I go, bro, you were an asshole. I called you an asshole, and then you left me a paragraph to explain how I'm an asshole. That is not how normal people behave. If you are leaving that long a paragraph of negativity in somebody's comments, you need very special help from a doctor or a therapist or something, or you should just be put in jail because you're a crazy person and you're not going to be around here. So, you know, you want to leave negative spewing comments trying to spread your negativity? It's not going to happen here. You get blocked from the channel real quick. I do not need your viewership if you are a negative asshole. Here, we are looking for people that are interested in things and want to talk about the things that they like about something and are interested in. And, you know, it's also not hard to talk about what you didn't like about something without being an asshole to somebody else. You know, like, I talk pretty negatively about things all the time, but I'm not an asshole about it for no fucking reason. You know, like, unless it's Madam Web or Jared Leto, because they deserve it, frankly. So moral of that story is that the Odyssey looks fucking great, and if you're thinking otherwise, you're either flat out wrong or you're an asshole, and that's just how it is. You know, if you're not interested in something, then why are you commenting on random fucking strangers' posts trying to make me not interested in something that I'm clearly liking? You know, like, just trying to poo-poo somebody else's fucking joy? Like, go fuck yourself in every facet of the fucking words. Ugh, but you know, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey will be here July 17th of 2026. So this will be a very exciting summer. But also the 17th of July, isn't Supergirl coming out 2 weeks before that? And then 2 weeks after this, isn't Spider-Man coming out? So that's going to be a busy month of movies. You know, the end of June into July, middle of July we get The Odyssey, and then the end of July we get Spider-Man. So we get DC, Christopher Nolan, Marvel, bruh. And then I think at some point in there as well, I think maybe in June though, we get Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day, which is Steven Spielberg doing another UFO movie. Like, that's going to be unbelievable. I can't wait for that as well. But switching it up into some new news, that the new Planet of the Apes movie is in the works, and Matt Shakman, director of Fantastic Four, and I believe also WandaVision, I could be mistaken about that second one, but definitely directed Fantastic Four most recently, and he's going to be set to direct the new Planet of the Apes movie. But apparently it won't be a continuation of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because at the end of that last Planet of the Apes movie, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, they like left it open that there was going to be a story with the human girl, and like they were in like missile silos, and like the human civilization was still underground, but there was very few of them, you know, and like obviously Planet of the Apes now is fully, it's the apes are in the kingdom. There is no real human population left, especially, you know, they almost implied that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was in the same timeline of the Matt Reeves, you know, Caesar movies. And I really like Caesar the Ape, you know, so if maybe Max SHAKMAN is continuing Caesar's story, but also at the end of War of the Planet of the Apes, there was kind of a moment where it implied that Caesar maybe died, you know, and then these apes got to live on, and that's what led into Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. But it's a very different group of apes by the time we get to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And it seems like there's a big time jump there. So who knows? Maybe Matt SHAKMAN's making his own Planet of the Apes movie, and he's taking them in a new direction. Maybe Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes didn't perform as well as they wanted it to. I thought it did pretty well, and watching it in theaters, it looked awesome. You know, I haven't rewatched Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes yet, but I will. I still want to show my roommate the part where he goes, "Ape will learn. I will learn." And he's all happy with himself. And if you know, you know. But comment below, do you want them to continue with the story that they were telling in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes? Or do you want Matt SHAKMAN to do his own thing? Personally, I'm here for either one. I think Matt SHAKMAN is definitely a good enough director to carry it on. And between the last director, Matt Reeves, and Matt SHAKMAN, give it to a Matt and let him run with it, and it should work out. But another little interesting piece of concept art that I saw the other day was for a project called Ray Gunn, with 2 N's in the gun, and I have thoughts on that as well. But this is apparently a new animated film from director Brad Bird, who many people would know from his work on The Incredibles, and I believe he also did Iron Giant, which is my, you know, superior animated film to any other thing that he's ever put out, probably. But the film follows a private investigator drawn into a case involving aliens and murder, all in the alternate futuristic city Metropia. Huh. Interesting, and this will be releasing later this year on Netflix. But I love it, like, it's Ray Gunn, and you can see that, you know, there's clearly like a ray gun type of gun in his hand. But what if this guy's name is like, he's like the long lost brother of James Gunn and Sean Gunn? You know, what if this is just their brother, Ray Gunn? You know, like, his name is Ray and his last name, and he's a part of the Gunn family. You know, like, I could picture that being the case for this too. But then, you know, Ray Gunn has a ray gun, and, you know, maybe it's along the lines of, like, Call of Duty, you know, zombies ray gun. Pew, you know, like, I don't know. But pretty cool that Brad Bird's back making a unique, original idea for another animated film, you know, and hopefully he's also working on Incredibles 3. But last week we finished up a Star Wars show. That would be MAUL, Shadow Lord, and there was another poster released here with MAUL in his new apprentice, potentially, with Devin here, and many think that she might become Darth Talon, which would be a really sick way to take this season into a season 2, you know. But either way, the finale was unbelievable, and this other poster here with MAUL in the background and the 2 swords crossed in the middle, and Devin's in the middle of both of the swords. Oh, so good. MAUL Shadow Lord. All episodes streaming on Disney Plus now. All episode breakdowns are currently out on the channel. All the episodes did come out in 2-episode bundles, so each of the breakdowns are in those 2-episode bundles, but those are currently up on the channel. If you want to go check those out, I highly appreciate it. And definitely go watch MAUL Shadow Lord if you're a Star Wars fan, because that show was awesome. But switching it up into some Marvel news, we got a new Marvel Comics run that's getting announced. And this little image here says, Marvel Comics presents a terrifying new universe called Midnight. And it's called Midnight because the light had its turn, and it's now for the darkness. Ooh. So all of these projects will be set in the wee hours of the morning, in between midnight and dawn. I don't know. But either way, it seems like they're maybe trying to start a darker side of the Marvel Comics, right? And lean into the darkness a little bit more, which would be smart for me if they're, you know, this is called Midnight. Maybe this is an entire run of Midnight Suns comics, and they're just going to keep these rolling out so that Marvel can now go ahead and make a Midnight Suns movie. Why not? I think everyone's clamoring to see more of the certain characters, and if, you know, you're bailing on your Blade movie, maybe you turn it into a Midnight Suns movie, and you add Ghost Rider, and Moon Knight, and Werewolf by Night, and Man-Thing, and all these cool characters that are in, like, the darker, spookier side of the MCU. You know, I would be here for this. But speaking of darker side of the MCU, Daredevil Born Again Season 2 just wrapped last week as well, and same thing as MAUL. All episode breakdowns are currently up on the channel, so go check those out if you want. And all the way back for the Season 1, 2, and 3, there's season breakdowns of the Netflix Daredevil. You know, so if you want to recap everything that has to do with Daredevil, there's videos up on the channel, so go check those out, and I would highly appreciate it. But this final poster here with Kingpin up top and Daredevil hopping through the middle and like smoke's fading off of him, or maybe his black paint is wearing off and revealing the red suit underneath. That's always been a cool thing. But the season was pretty damn good, and the IMDB scores reflected it. You know, it opened up with an 8.2 and a 7.9, but both of those episodes aired at once, you know, to start this season out. And, you know, I honestly don't even remember why episode 2 wouldn't be above an 8.0, but I do remember episode 3 being the episode where Jack Duquesne and Matt fight and break all those people out of jail. So episode 3 was an 8.7, and then they upped it for episode 4, 9.4, which is one of the higher episode ranks of this year, you know. So now I'm like, wait, what was episode 4? Oh, episode 4 was the diner, you know, in Dex's diner scene. Episodes 5 and 6 both got a 9.0, you know, so sticking at that 9 range for 3 episodes straight, then dipping just a little bit for the penultimate episode with an 8.9 for episode 7, and then the season finale was a 9.6. And honestly, for IMDb, they're much higher on episode 8 than I was, you know, like, I was here for it, but I also thought, you know, like, it wasn't all that exciting an ending for me because it's gloomy, you know, it's darker ending. It's not necessarily a joyful ending, and you're not like hopeful, you know, like you end like, oh shit, that's where we're at? Oh no, you know, like this is going to cause problems, you know. And then like they just like let Fisk go sit on an island somewhere. Like why? All the shit he did, he's not back in jail? Like that's crazy. Crazy work. But Daredevil Born Again Season 3 has been filming in New York right now, and they're about halfway through filming, and they got about 6 more weeks left, I think. And, you know, some of the images that we've seen leaked from the set of Daredevil Born Again Season 3, it looks like Luke Cage, Mike Coulter was posting pictures on his Instagram, and we saw Matt, Karen, and Luke Cage all in prison together, and Matt sporting that beard and his orange jumpsuit. Then Fisk is back in New York, so he's not staying on that island, and he's got a big old white thick beard and a beanie cap and like a trench coat, so he's kind of like blending in as a homeless man in New York. There's also images of Luke Cage and the new mayor and the Defenders getting back together, and we got, you know, no Matt there, but we got Karen Page, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Daniel Jones, you know, and we got the Iron Fist back as well, and then Sheila, the new mayor, replacing Fisk, and we only know that from the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer. And then the final image, we got Heather Glenn turning into Lady Muse, or Mrs. Muse, or whatever she's gonna call herself, and she's got blood splattered, it looks like, on her white shirt, and she's wearing that Muse mask, and she's got one of those Karen terrible wigs with like this black Edna Mode haircut, and she's got a white beanie cap on for some reason as well, but I'm not sure why. Maybe that's trying to recreate like the specific comic book cover that I'm thinking of, but I don't know, I'm very excited for that. Season 3 should probably be airing the same time it normally does, around March of next year, so 3 years in a row we're going to be getting seasons of Daredevil Born Again. I'm so happy about that, you know, and I hope they keep the momentum going, and I hope it gets a season 4 as well. But sliding into the Punisher, right, because the season finale of Daredevil Born Again was last week, but tomorrow night, the Punisher special presentation, The Punisher One Last Kill, is coming, and it looks really good. In John Bernthal's Punisher, he says Frank Castle gets a new take on the character in Punisher One Last Kill, and he says, how do we get Frank from this place in his life where he is reeling and spiraling out of control to a place where he can find some meaning, where he can find something new to fight for, but he does find a bit of purpose, and he said that to comicbook.com. And my theory was that this Punisher One Last Kill would explain why he wasn't in the finale, because the Daredevil Born Again finale, it did feel like maybe Frank Castle, the Punisher, should have shown up in season 2 at some point. He just didn't. So maybe he's been going through some mental stuff and he's been having a rough time, and that's what this whole special presentation is about. But we also have these other posters that they dropped where the Punisher and Frank's got his big old beard and long hair, and he's got his old traditional Punisher outfit on, and then we got him in a more of street clothes, and he's got blood all over him. He's holding like a sawed-off shotgun, and he looks angry as hell. And then there's a wide shot of like more images that say "one last kill," May 12th, so tomorrow night this will be dropping, and there will be a breakdown and reaction to what happened in the Punisher special presentation dropping Wednesday, so stay tuned for that, y'all. But just to end out today's pod, let's talk some DC news, shall we? And first up, of course, we got Supergirl right around the corner in this entertainment summer preview exclusive. We got an image of Supergirl in her outfit here. And actually, I'm really digging this little detail I didn't notice. The little gold on the top of her boots and how well like the red and the gold goes together, but then like matching with the belt. You know, like I do really like the little gold accents on this outfit. You know, almost like imagine the Superman symbol, but instead of yellow, it was gold. You know, I wonder how that would look. But, you know, I do really dig her outfit, the skirt, you know, like it just looks better than underoos on the outside. As much as I love, you know, that Superman look of David Cornsweet and James Gunn, you know, and that is how I picture Superman, I think Supergirl is also super hot and looks great, you know, like, and I can't wait to see Millie Alcock as this character, you know, and anybody hating on that, fuck you. But also, anybody hating, Quentin Tarantino, on my boy Matthew Lillard, and, you know, sometimes his character of Mr. Charles in Daredevil Born Again Season 2 was kind of like, why is he here, you know, but maybe there is some type of grand plan for him, because he does seem like he's got off to do something pretty crazy for Daredevil Born Again Season 3, but in better news for Matthew Lillard, he's now in the MCU in Daredevil Born Again, and he's going to be in James Gunn's DCU, as he has been cast in the Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow, and that comes from Deadline, but James Gunn also then posted a picture of him on set of Man of Tomorrow, as they are filming right now, and just from this image of Matthew Lillard, with the little mustache and the beard and the glasses and the hair and the little, like, quirky outfit, he's either playing like a nerd at like Argus or the Daily Planet, or I'm taking a little shot in the sky here, is this James Gunn's Jim Gordon, right? Like, so before, is he casting the head of Gotham's, you know, Commissioner Gordon? Is he casting Jim Gordon before Batman? Or maybe have they made a decision on their Batman? Are they going to make Robert Pattinson's Batman in the DCU? That would then mean that Jim Gordon is already cast because of Matt Reeves' universe. But if they're going to go with the Brave and the Bold universe, is Matthew Lillard being a Jim Gordon? Are we going to see the Gotham universe a little bit in Man of Tomorrow? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But we could. You know, there's nothing that says James Gunn can't do whatever the fuck he wants. It's his movie, you know? But I have a feeling it's going to be more of a Brainiac and Lex Luthor and Superman all trying to, you know, I think Lex and Superman are going to be working together to defeat Brainiac. But then how does like a Matthew Lillard end up in this? You know, and is it just a smaller role, but is it one of these characters kind of like Flurry in Peacemaker Season 2, or, you know, Stevie Blackheart's character with the mustache and the big glasses, and then he ends up returning in weird ways in multiple different roles? You know, is it just going to be one of these roles where it's James Gunn's good buddy and he's giving him some fun to do, and then, you know, if he doesn't kill him, he gets to be a recurring character? You know, I think so. I think that's what James has been looking for to do with Matthew Lillard ever since writing his movies as Shaggy and Scooby-Doo years ago. You know, but yeah, I'm excited about Man of Tomorrow. I want to see more of that, and, you know, I'm sure we'll see some type of teaser in the next coming months for that, and we'll see more set photos from James Gunn's set and whatnot. But yeah, sounds exciting, and I'm so glad that, like, Superman came out last year and they're already working on the sequel, you know, like Matt Reeves, get on it, brother. You know, like, imagine if 2022's The Batman, 2023 they were filming part 2, we would have already had the sequel 2 years ago if they were going at James Gunn's rate. But hey, Batman Part 1 was really good. The Batman Part 2 needed time to get that script ready. And now I am so happy to announce that the Batman Part 2 is in production. Now, it is in the early stages of production, as Matt Reeves posted online this picture that says snow tires. And these are just some test footage of them shooting with a new cinematographer, because Greg Fraser is busy and he's not going to be back for this movie, unfortunately. But the cinematographer seems to be doing pretty much the same thing that Greg Fraser was doing, with the horizontal lens flares, the certain lighting, the moodiness of it. But if Matt Reeves is writing snow tires, he is also confirming here in these shots that it's not just going to be rain like we saw in the last Batman movie. This is snow. So this is a winter Batman. The Batmobile itself will be returning, but this is snow. This isn't, rain. This isn't just dust in front of the camera. We will be seeing snow. And some fan commented, "Oh, I've always wanted to see Batman bleeding on the snow so bad in live action." And Matt Reeves confirmed that that will be a thing. And then people were like, what is going on? As people were losing their mind. And then Matt Reeves released this picture and he just said, just having some fun, as he was just sitting there drinking some water, going over these daily shots that they got. And I believe this was all test footage, so maybe this is all stuff that they just shot to get ready for shooting, which hopefully production will start very, very soon. But my goodness, this looks so good, and it's just a couple of shots, and it reminds me of that chase scene from the first original movie, and the Penguin looking back, in the car chase scene with the this souped up Batmobile, but it also feels kind of like a Gen 1 Batmobile. But Colin Farrell's Penguin was so good in that, and Robert Pattinson's Batman, the soundtrack from Michael Giacchino, the cinematography from Greg Fraser, the script, and the directing from Matt Reeves, all around, this movie was unbelievable, and the clip will show for itself.
Come on!
oh my goodness, especially that final shot of the lighting and it's upside down as Penguin's upside down, seeing the Batman approach him, the pouring rain. Like, imagine the same chase sequence, chasing the Penguin, flipping him over, but he pulls up and it's snow he's walking on, and you just hear, you know, the squish of snow under Batman's feet. And like, I don't know if we've ever seen Batman in a pure snowy winter. And if that's also the case, you know, many people were speculating that if it's going to be winter in Gotham, maybe a certain winterized foe would be able to capitalize on the flooding of Gotham and capitalize on the winter. And maybe Mr. Freeze is being done in live action for now the second time, you know, other than Arnold Schwarzenegger. But hopefully they're doing it more like the animated Batman series, and we get like a serious take, almost like the Riddler in Batman Part 1, you know, more of a serial killer, serious villain rather than a jokey, you know, comic booky Jim Carrey type of Riddler. But I have so much faith in Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson and in the cast and writing and everything that they've been doing, and they took time to write this film, right? So they took the years they needed to make sure the script was worth it. So by the time they get on set and they're doing test footage and stuff, so that by the time they get there, hopefully things go in place the way they should, and they'll be able to knock out shots and bang out this movie fast as possible, because I need to feast my eyes on the Batman Part 2 like yesterday. I am not kidding. I need it. I don't want it. I need it. And now watching even just that one clip, it makes me want to go watch the Batman Part 1 all over again. I've probably seen that movie now 15 times since 2022, but it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done a little Batman minute, so who knows? Maybe I, later today, go and dive into the Batman and have that Michael Giacchino score just live rent-free in my head. Friggin' dum 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 bong 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 bong. Oh, so good. So good. I remember seeing it in theaters. That, like, it was in my chest because of how loud the theater was. The beat was in my chest for weeks, in like that opening scene, like the bum 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 boom, 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 as he's like walking through the streets of Gotham, and he's just like in street clothes. He's got like the black face paint on it. Oh, so good. So good, man. And like I'm a sucker for a really good movie where like it's raining the whole time, but I also love a movie where it's snowing the whole time. So Matt Reeves, do your thing. I got faith in you, brother, and I can't wait to see more from this film. But that's it for today, y'all. That's another Comically Boston weekly nerdy news in the books. I would love to hear your thoughts on everything we talked about today. Are you excited for The Mandalorian and Grogu? Are you going to watch the final season of The Bear? Masters of the Universe? Anybody interested? The Odyssey? Any negative people? There's the door. A new Planet of the Apes, a new animated film. A couple of shows ended last week, so go check out the breakdowns on the channel for MAUL, Shadowlord, and Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Season 3 is already in production for that. The Punisher special presentation comes out tomorrow. Supergirl in June. Man of Tomorrow next year, and hopefully the Batman Part 2 also next year. Oh, and maybe James Gunn combines the universes. Instead of keeping them Elseworld, maybe Robert Pattinson and David Cornsweet Superman, maybe they can meet face to face and lead the Justice League in James Gunn's DCU. I personally still want that to happen, but who knows? We'll see, I guess, in due time. But that's it for me, y'all. Thank you guys so much for sticking around this far into the video. If you guys want to send your thoughts to my other social medias, links for those down in the description below. But if you want to support the channel further, the best way of doing that is smashing the like button, commenting down below, subscribing if you haven't already, and hit that bell so you don't miss future Comically Boston weekly nerdy news podcasts every Monday, and you get the notifications when those come out. Once again, my name's Big Cam, and I'll see you gorgeous folks in the next one. Peace!